Hey guys, watching 25 playing KSP once again. Today, I have another version of the KM, which I found out stands for Corabel Maquette. Basically means test craft. Not test ship really, but anyway. I'm going to follow a more realistic takeoff procedure. Because we already have ours moving. First, the engines would point downwards, spooling up. There you go. And creating an air cushion under the wings. I disabled those rear pitch for this, by the way, because they don't do too well. Of course, the downforce of the engine goes under the wing and creates sort of like a temporary hovercraft. I'm sorry if all this is confusing, but this is fairly pretty. No, you cannot see the engine exhaust. So we need to reach a certain speed before we can just progress into normal flight. So I made some changes. I switched these to turbojets just for the simple reason that they look more awesome. I increased the size of the tail. Pitch active. Also, we need to be careful in this area because it's still fairly shallow water. Well, not anymore, but in that area it was. Right now we'll just we'll just head on off down to there. It's a relatively short trip for this aircraft. Boat. I don't really know what to call an Ekranoplan, really. Okay, yeah, you can see it. See, it has a rather sharp silhouette. Especially because it is sunrise. Yeah, the fairings don't really work with underwater. The way it goes. You can see why I had those disabled. Also, Nikita Khrushchev described this at one time. Said that at an United Nations conference, I believe, that the Russians had ships that could jump over bridges. Nobody had a single clue what he meant. But I figured out that later on they figured out that what this was an Ekranoplan, which is a ground effect aircraft. Of course, it depends on the air cushion between the air and the wing. Kind of help. You can go. Hold on. I'm going to calculate how much this is. It's 55.6 multiplied by 60 equals multiplied by 60 equals okay. Now that I actually look at the stats, it's not that far off from the real one speed because it's only because this has around the top speed of 198 kilometers an hour. The real one had a top speed of 300. This is actually a lot closer to what it is than I would have thought. Considering Kerman is 10 times smaller. Yeah. Because we have some inland lakes, which would be much more like a test area for the KM. Corabel Maquette again. But you can see why it's pretty much impossible to get in there without encountering some serious terrain. But this was spotted by an American spy satellite in 1967 Actually, and the image looks a lot like kind of this. So there was the town there. And they zoomed in and they could see just kind of this shape. They didn't know what it was. They thought maybe it's some sort of aircraft, but then they looked at it. They thought maybe it was an aircraft in construction, of course, because the wings weren't long enough. They added the wings, and they realized that it would have been the aircraft wouldn't have been very good. So after a while, they figured out that what it was. They figured out that it was an Ekranoplan, or it was a ground effect aircraft. And the reason it got the name of Caspian Sea Monster. Well, let me just get into a more. That's more kind of. That is usually how you see the KM in the videos of it flying. But first, one of the people who saw the footage, which was from I don't remember what satellite it was from, but I think it was a Corona satellite, now that I think about it. But it took the pictures. It was on orbit, took the pictures, and then the pictures re-entered. And so there's a person who was analyzing this, and they were analyzing these Corona images, and one of his co-workers said, I was like, hey, this is strange. And they couldn't figure out what it was, so I think the person said, hey, we have a monster here. And then the person said, oh, maybe it's we got water monster. Oh, the Loch Ness monster. Then one of his co-workers looked at him. No, it's in the Caspian Sea. It would have to be the Caspian Sea monster. So that's how it got its nickname. This aircraft/boat was designed by the same person who designed hydrofoils. I believe that is what you call them. Hydrofoils are the boats with with kind of wings underneath them. And those wings would slice through the water, lift it up, making them go faster. Whereas the logical next step was to take the wings, put them above the water. I don't remember the name of the engine. It was something Alexeyev. Anyways. I'm just dropping those because that gives us more speed. Somebody, one of the test pilots of the Corabel Maquette, said that you have to be really careful, that you constantly have to keep an eye on the speed and the altitude. And somebody would need to be constantly monitoring the engines, like constantly have throttle control. And oh my gosh, this thing they had to add extra levers so they could throttle the two things up at once. If you've seen Antonov, they push it up, like, they push the throttle up like that, the 225. Yeah, that's 6 engines. Add another 2. They had to add 2 more levers to raise and lower, but of course you could still do it. They could still do it separately. They could still be controlled separately. Yeah, it was strange. This was designed as a top secret project, yet the only people it was secret to was the Russian citizens. The Americans knew about it. So you can see the tail end is stitched together like a bad quilt. But yeah, well, you can see the KM is the new and improved version. I'm Bot25. Goodbye.